Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to announce his resignation as the leader of the Liberal Party. The Globe and Mail is reporting that Trudeau has, of course, been under major pressure from elected lawmakers in his party to quit for months now. It has increased further when his finance minister and deputy prime minister stepped down. This is, quite a blow as far as the Liberal Party is concerned, which is becoming highly unpopular by the day. Trudeau's resignation would trigger a race for the party leadership, with the winner becoming the Prime Minister. My colleague Maha has the details.
A lot of his party members also blame Justin Trudeau specifically for the unpopularity of the Liberal Party. They feel that the economic situation in the country was not properly handled. There was rising inflation, housing crisis, because of which the party has been left vulnerable now electorally. And that is why there were calls for a leadership change in the Liberal Party. These calls have been made for the last over 6 months. Members of his party, as well as members of parliament of the Liberal Party, have been calling for his resignation as the party leader and have been asking for a fresh leadership to take them into the next election. But his situation became even more tenuous after his close ally, the Deputy Prime Minister and the former Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland, resigned. She said that Justin Trudeau wanted to change her ministry, but she chose to step down from the cabinet instead. Since then, the NDP that had initially been supporting the Trudeau government, the minority government from the outside, but they had, remember, withdrawn that outside support in September. However, they were supporting the government on a case-by-case basis in Parliament. The leader of that party, Jagmeet Singh, had also said that he will bring a non-confidence motion against the Trudeau government come the 27th of January, when the House of Commons would have met again. That is when the situation for Justin Trudeau became absolutely difficult to continue with. Justin Trudeau realized that his party is not going to survive this non-confidence motion, because another important opposition party, Bloc Québécois, also said that they will not be supporting the government this time around. And it is under these circumstances now that reports are coming in, specifically Globe and Mail reporting, citing 3 sources, that Justin Trudeau is going to step aside as the leader of the Liberal Party, which means that he will no longer remain the Prime Minister. However, there is no clarity yet on who could take over and whether this is going to save the government, because the NDP has clearly said that even if there is a change in leadership, they will continue to go ahead with their non-confidence motion, and because they want this government to go immediately and fresh elections to be.
Right, and to know more on this, thank you so much, Maha. We have Daniel Boardman joining us, Canadian journalist. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on NDTV. Daniel, would you say this was on expected lines and Trudeau's resignation was inevitable?
It's a bit of a strange thing, because if it was any other leader of any other party at any other point in Canadian history, he would have been forced to resign, I mean, years ago. But especially like the most recent scandals with, his own deputy prime minister saying pulling the whole "you can't fire me, I quit" shtick. And the fact that over half his own caucus has come out against him. I mean, any other leader of any other party would have been forced to resign instantly. But this is Justin Trudeau. This is the modern Liberal Party. This is modern Canada. And he seems to have no shame in any way. So he's very willing to sort of grasp onto power by any means necessary. So the rumors that he's set to resign could be true. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking. I mean, any other politician in this scenario would be forced to resign. The government is completely untenable. But in sort of a weird way, the fact that Canadian parties can be whipped and very much controlled by their leaders. So between the two of them, between Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, if both of those two don't want an election, it is still possible to kind of hold out until October. But if it was any other person, they would have been forced to resign instantly. But he is so, I don't know, I guess narcissism is the word. He is incredibly narcissistic that he's refused to take any accountability for his actions. So we do know there's lots of pressure on him to resign, but there's always been a lot of pressure on him to resign over the last few years due to like the massive amount of just scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal where, from week to week, it's some new major scandal. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does resign today, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this just turns out to be rumors, because again, there's two factions within the Liberal Party now, ones that want him gone and ones that want him to stay. So this is just a rumor, and it's not so far-fetched that someone who's part of the anti-Trudeau faction could leak a rumor to the Globe and Mail to put more pressure on him to try and force him to resign and enforce a leadership. But again, this is all rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic for the Liberal Party. They're projected to get 6 seats, and if they change Trudeau as leader, maybe they could get 15 seats out of 333. I mean, they're still going to get obliterated electorally. So, what's the difference between 6 and 15?
Right, Daniel, also reports coming in of Trudeau's advisors trying to save him. Will they manage to pull it off is the big question. Will he really remain as the Prime Minister till they don't find another selected leader? What really is the way forward?
We're all kind of in uncharted territories here. Like, no one's really sure. Like, it might be technically possible to stay on as Prime Minister, but like resign as leader. But I don't. Like in practicality, that's never happened. When you resign as leader of the party, there's a new interim leader of the party, and they would then become Prime Minister. But again, all of this is very, very unpopular with Canadians. Canadians know that Donald Trump's administration is coming in on the 20th. He does despise Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland and pretty much everyone in the Liberal Party for good reason. I mean, they spent the last 10 years, 8 to 9 years, let's say, just Trump bad as a key part of their foreign and domestic policy. So it wouldn't be shocking if again the Liberals get in and pull some sort of shenanigans where he's still Prime Minister but not leader. But it would make no sense. Again, we're all in our uncharted territory here. The government should have collapsed months ago, and should collapse any minute now. But it requires the leader of the Liberal Party to have no shame, no love of country, no love of party, no love of anything other than himself. And that's kind of what we had. So this is pretty indicative of Justin Trudeau, just no regard for even his own Liberal Party, which he claims to care about. So he'll burn down the country. We all know that, but now he showed he'll burn down the Liberal Party just to, I don't know, be king of Canada for a few more months. Like, I think he really loves being president of the G7 this year and calling him president. He's going around calling himself president of the G7. This is things Trudeau loves. Trudeau loves international nonsense. He wants to be chief UN ambassador to social justice, climate change feelings. This has always been a major goal of his, is to be like internationally recognized as some sort of vapid international head of something. So with the G7 set to come to Canada, I mean, this is sort of his fantasy, is to just call himself captain and president of the G7. And very much, if you can tell in Canada, he very much enjoys declaring himself president of the G7 right now. So I think that's, I mean, it's saying crazy to sound, that kind of is, I think, his primary motivation going forward, is he wants to have the G7 in Canada and, sort of pretend he's king of the world for a week. But is that enough to keep the entire government in place? We'll find out. But again, we're in uncharted territory in Canada, because any other leader would have been forced out months ago by some of these scandals. But he's just kind of just showed that if I just ignore the scandals and blame it all on Stephen Harper or Pierre Poilievre or Donald Trump or someone else, or Indian foreign interference, right? It's the Indian government's reason why I'm unpopular with Canadians. So I'm not going to resign because Canadians love me. They're just being tricked by Modi or something into not liking me. These are all semi-possible Trudeau explanations to his behavior.
Right. Thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us with all those details. We will